I'm muted. It wasn't even you. What happened? My mic's still okay. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I can hear you. Give me 1 second. You're super quiet though. I mean,
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm trying to use this microphone here.
But you said I'm doubled. Right now I'm doubled. I just muted the same one again, so I'm still doubled. Check. All right, well, we'll see where it goes. Hopefully I got rid of the buzzing sound. That's good. Yeah, that was most annoying. I literally had to play music in the background, but I don't know. Yeah, but
let me see. Can you hear this? No,
I don't think so. I can't hear either one of those taps. I know you got to be using one of them.
Yeah, probably is this one.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, I can increase the browser volume up to 100%, so at least give you some boost. Oh, matter of fact, you know what I can do? I can add a compressor. Yeah, what's up? Well, I fixed it. You're good. You can hear it. Okay, maybe you can already hear you. Okay, but cool, man.
Nice. So before we jump, I'm doing some tests here.
No, you're good.
I believe you see with some lagging on between my voice and my actual mouth, or are you seeing okay?
No, you're right. I didn't notice it till you said it, but when you said it, yeah, I can do it. Are you going through like OBS or?
No, but I'm using Camo. So I Camo Studio. So I plug in my phone with a cable. So I was expecting not to have lag, but I'm checking here, and I do have lag. So let me switch here. 1 second. I think this is at least there's no lagging. I think now you can see.
Yeah.
And I can, I can do some controls here.
Getting it dialed in, I like it. We'll get it nice and set. And we even, we made us some adjustments on our screen too. So when you see it today, when you go back and look at it, it'll be funny. We had some nice touches to it.
Nice. I actually yesterday. Okay, hold on. Let me do some switch here. Since we are adjusting, hold on. Is this any better?
Yeah, it's pretty good. You like it? All right. It's good. Cool. But yeah, man, I'm glad that we got this this thing going again 2 days in a row. That's a record for us. It's a streak. We're on a streak.
We're doing a sprint.
Yeah, exactly. And so do we kick it off in true Friday fashion where we grab the beers?
I was waiting because I don't want my beer to
get warm.
So give me 2 seconds. I will be right back.
Nice. While you're getting it, we're gonna change to our beer cam because I put a little webcam in front of our beer fridge.
Okay.
Nice. What do we get? Taste. Right there. Good stuff. He's gonna laugh at me too because yesterday we were talking about it and he made like a comment about fruity drinks. So this one's specifically for him and his joke about fruity drinks. Let me get this 1 second from this chat. There we go. Bam. All right. You're back.
What's there to hold?
I bet he's got like a frosted mug too. I want to see what he's got in store. Matter of fact, while he's doing, I'm gonna grab a quick water. I was talking for like last hour. Oh yeah. Oh, he's back. Oh, hurry up. So prior to us having this conversation, I was meeting with my mentee, and we were talking. I went through a whole glass of water, and I'm like, I don't know if I'll be able to talk again without some water on top of my beer. Oh, you're muted.
Okay.
There we go.
I'm here now.
All right.
Yeah, water is good.
Yeah.
I usually don't drink that much, but yeah. People say it's good. My wife says all the time.
Oh yeah, my wife too. She's went through the phases too, where every year her water bottle got bigger for a while, right? So it was like a 2-foot jug of water she would carry around, and then the beauty of it was 10 p.m. at night, and she'd be like, "Oh, my water's empty. I need a refill." And at first when the bottle's like this big, it's not bad. But when you got a water bottle this big, that a refill required me to sit at the fridge for 10 minutes, like filling that
exactly.
thing up.
So my wife usually, she goes to the gym, right? So she has a bottle like very big, and then she usually asks me, "Oh, can you fill up my bottle?" And I always reply, "Oh, you mean your bucket?"
Yeah, your pail of water. Yeah, right. That's too funny. Speaking of something to drink, what did you get this evening?
It's
Nice.
pretty standard.
So I literally was gonna grab that exact beer. I was looking at it when I picked out my beer, but I said I need to get something specific to a comment you made yesterday. So, do you remember any comments we made? That we only need a few about drinking.
Oh, I remember saying that I didn't like fruit beers.
There you go. Yeah, so for you, I got myself a peach lemonade. And it's not even a real beer. Like, it's a seltzer, so it's not even a real beer. But it's what...
Of course it's not.
He's like, this is not. But I have people drink it like beer, so it's the only fruity thing I could find. So cheers to you, brother.
Okay.
You were in my... This? Nice. Crackback, I like it.
You know, one thing that I was thinking, we can actually do something, to make this more interesting.
Yeah.
So once in a while, we can actually buy a couple of beers. Like, I can buy some local beers here, and ship it out to you.
Nice.
Then, so then we can. Kind of a cultural thing as well.
There we go. Don't tempt me with a good time, because I know I can find some good Texas-based beers too that we could definitely get. So.
Oh, here we have a lot of good beers as well. Yeah.
Anyway. Well, let me take a sip of this. So, part of the good thing about it, right, is we don't have to flabbergast and flop around with stuff to talk about. I have my handy dandy, newly established research analyst, aka my son, finding interesting stuff and topics for us since he's on summer vacation now. Yeah, nice. So he gets to do stuff. But before we kind of jump,
he types on ChatGPT what to talk about.
See, there you go. There's the tip. He said his job's at risk. Smart man. Yeah, you are. The research analyst job's at risk because of GPT. But I thought about, before diving in, right, before we kind of talked and I got your thoughts on some of these headlines, and mine, because I haven't seen them all, cherry pick ones we think are cool. But I do remember through text you said you might have had a question that you might have wanted to ask me, or if you
Oh,
had
of course.
one. So
Yeah, actually, I was thinking yesterday, but then we jumped right into the AI topic,
yeah,
and then we just kept it going. But see, I am a guy that I have a broader vision, right?
yeah,
And probably that's why I'm not a developer anymore. Not that developers have like limited, not at all.
yeah.
But I like to see the bigger picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, man, who decides to get a tool like UiPath or Blue Prism, whatever, right? Of course, it's someone very senior, like leadership or so on, some C-level whatsoever. So what I was thinking was how or how this decision is made, what people evaluate, what criteria they assess. So then they decide, oh, okay, UiPath is a good choice for our company, because for someone or a group of people to decide to invest so much money in something like this, it has to be some return, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, UiPath is beautiful. They have AI, they have Copilot, they have a beautiful community. So let's jump in, right? At the end of the day, it's money, right? That
very true.
Speaks, right? So what do you think? How is this process in your? I don't know if we ever went through this process, was involved on it, right?
Yeah. The interesting thing about this is if there was a good answer for this, then all of the salespeople would already know it and they'd be very rich, right? Because they'd be able to answer that exact question for everybody. And the reason there's so many different successful vendors, I think, in this space is because there are so many different ways that has to be sold, right? And if you were to look at the industry and like how adoption occurs, it's very similar to what you say, right? But it's in different aspects. Some organizations like USAA, RPA and intelligent automation started there by a trailblazer. It started by a trailblazer, like someone who was just forward thinking, someone who was taking risks. It started in property and casualty. It wasn't like a tech team. It was in the business. A director who was responsible, and get this, the work that this gentleman was responsible for initially was BPO work. So basically, USA had a bunch of work
process
outsourcing. So basically, I have a bunch of work, and it's in America, and American people are doing it, but Philippines or India, some company says I can do it for pennies. And so they were outsourcing work. But what happened was as they would kind of outsource work, some of that work they realized was super simple, and they had a small dev team of like 3 people, and they said, hey, we can just automate some of this part of this. So the tactic came, instead of like lifting and shifting work, they'd lift, automate, and then shift work. And then what happened is the tools got much better. Instead of using VB macros, we were using RPA, we were using automation anywhere. Right. And there were a couple projects that didn't require us to lift and shift. We just lifted and automated, and there was nothing left. And then after you do that for a big enough project, you start thinking, you're like, wow, maybe I could do this for other stuff. And so here we go. All of a sudden, nobody even knows in USAA that this is happening. And all of a sudden, you're just building solutions. And then all of a sudden, one day you wake up and you saved, like how we got found out is the CFO came out at USAA and he said, hey, across USAA, I need us to save $30 million next year. 30 million as a company. It needs to be a big efficiency. And so when it's a board level objective, what happens? Well, they take that 30 million and they chop it up and they say, hey, bank, you need to deliver 10 million. Hey, operations, you need to deliver 2 million or whatever. And so they made this big board plan, come down to property and casualty, a group that we just happen to fall under. And they were like, hey, you guys need to save 3 million or whatever. And by Q1, our automation program had saved over $7 million. So not only did we deliver the entire goal for the entire property and casualty division of USAA, and we delivered on other people's goals by Q1. And so obviously this gets to the eyeball of the CFO, and he's saying like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then that's when they start pouring gas. They say, wait a minute, this is something. What are you doing? We did road shows and said, hey, look, this is what we did. And they're like, how did you save 2,000% ROI on this project here? Or blah, 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 and you show them the numbers and like, wow. So while we'd like to think it was some big executive who was smart and said, hey, we're going to adopt this tool and we're picking this tool and this is what we're going with. The scenarios and adoption, they happen so randomly. And that's why people have a hard time trying to figure out how to sell it. It might start with the director. It might start like you said, in the CIO. A CIO's a core.
Yeah. I feel that will vary a lot depending on the size of the company as well, right? Because if you aren't in a startup or a small company, low risk, low profile, like where people can just go to the internet, download stuff and play around with it, like they have so much flexibility. Like I already did some stuff like that where I had some freedom to try it out, right?
Yep.
So for those companies, someone can easily just download the community version, create some automations, and then show the results.
Oh,
right?
I'm going to flip the script on you. Keep talking. Finish your thought. I'm going to flip the script on you, though. I got a thought.
Yeah. But I imagine like that's not how a bank works, or that's not how a hospital or any financial institution, right? So like there's so much scrutiny on what we do these days, like in bigger companies, and not only financial sector or health sector, any major corporation, right? Like everything is just like you are stuck. Like you can't download stuff, right? Sometimes you can, but the risk is so high, and it can bring so much dangers to the company. Like you think twice before doing, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Your signal.
Yeah, 1 second. I have the big battery here too, so I'm gonna go ahead and plug that bad boy in. Give me 1 second. But your point is brilliant, right? Your thought is brilliant, but I have to ask you a couple of questions.
Sure, shoot it.
Right? Let me hear it. And I'll put the big thing. I don't want to have to look for the cable. I was all excited and I have my big chunker battery, but this one will last for hours. But so my thought is what you said makes sense, right? You think that like that there's certain structures in how this stuff happens, and that definitely you can be handcuffed, right? That's what eventually happened to USAA, right? After we delivered all that value and we started getting going, since we weren't IT, we weren't DevOps or anything like that, IT came out and they're like, wait a minute, this technology is dangerous and we should own it. It should be our tool and we should be building solutions, not some random guys in the business.
Not business.
Yeah. They're like, you guys are going to blow us up. So they always think, right? But here's the crazy thing about it, right? And I'm going to give you this example at USAA, right? So I'll give you an example of another company. So a part of our mission after we got sort of authorized to use this tool, they said, hey guys, yeah, definitely RPA can start at a lower level. Mo, that's a valid point. But what happens is that as we started trying to leverage it, they found out that there were people building solutions everywhere. There were things called macros, and they had to put out a policy because just somebody like yourself before these tools came out, they were using code or script on Excel or Access database, right? And they would make these tools. And people had to come back and they said your job is to go back and kind of replace these with our solution, right? So where I want to flip this back on your head is I once went to this organization and they had a tool. I think it was like Work Fusion or something. I can't remember what the tool was, but they'd had this tool that some person in IT had got and paid way too much for licenses. He didn't know what he was doing, and instead of getting like 100 production licenses, he ended up getting like 100 developer licenses or something crazy like that. But somehow these things got through. Anyway, long story short, nobody thought that anybody was using these. And they had a team that was sort of building automations. It was a very small team, 3 to 5 people, right? So here's my question to you. I have this team of 3 to 5 people. They've only delivered maybe $1 million or so in value, maybe less. But the more important thing is that small team's only put 12 automations into production in the first year. Okay. They were able to pull a list of all of the stuff that WorkFusion had been built, tools that had been built with WorkFusion. And it was over 2,000 automations that the company or citizen developers had built. So my question for you, if RPA is just a IT thing and they're only able to kind of build solutions at a certain pace, or you have the option of citizen development, where people are just there always have been building solutions. Honestly, I think they always will find a way to build solutions. What's the approach? Should we just not allow citizen development and continue to try to prevent that? Or do you just go all in and try to find out a way to let them build, but try to manage it? Like, what do you do? Where's the value at?
Well, I think we were on our first call, we were talking about this, right? The citizen development and the biggest challenge of what to do with them. And I totally agree with you. Like, if we make this exclusively IT, like it run the risk of becoming just like any other development team where you have put a request, you have to go all that process and then wait until someone prioritize and funding and everything else that comes with that, right?
Yeah.
So, and it can become very expensive, right? So the idea that RPA is cheaper and quicker and simpler, all that good stuff, may be at risk. I'm not saying that will be, but it can be, right? Depending on the setup of the company. So I like the citizen development. I started as a citizen developer, right?
Yeah.
But it's not all flowers, right? There's some darkness into it as well.
Yeah, that's very true.
I love that, like hearing that 2,000 automations were deployed. That's awesome.
Yeah,
right? Huge savings, of course. Right. But yeah, who is taking accountability? Right?
That's it, right?
That's the question, right?
Yeah. So
what do we do with like automations created by people that left the team? Like happened to me. Like I created automations, I left the team. So
what happened though? Let's ask what did happen in your scenario in this situation. Did the bot explode and they don't use it anymore? Did someone learn what happened?
So first of all, I was trying a lot. Like I really wanted to build up, as much automations that I could.
Yeah.
So I was bugging everybody. Oh, do you need an automation? Do you need an automation? Right. So I was knocking every door. Yeah. Do you need help? Do you need help? I really did that. So I have to tell you, some of my projects weren't that good. Right. So
they weren't
the
brilliant,
use case. Yeah, the use case as a whole wasn't something that useful or that beneficial.
Yeah.
And they didn't go through, right? It was like something that I experienced at the time was a lot of pushback, but a soft pushback. People that didn't want, but they didn't tell, oh, I don't want this, don't bug me, right? They would say, oh, let's see. I was procrastinating the decision.
Yeah.
And even after I deployed some automations people didn't want to use and that kind of thing, right? But anyway, some use cases, they were good, most of them actually, and they are still there. But the problem is I transitioned to someone, then this person left as well. Right after I transitioned, this person left. Then that person transitioned to someone else, which also changed some areas. Then that word transitioned to someone else. So it was a cascade of transitions, right?
Yeah.
So
Sure.
to be honest, as of today, I don't know what if they are still running. I believe they are, but I don't know what's the picture. People stopped asking questions about them, and probably I could have done a better job in documenting, documentation and
Mm.
knowledge transfer, something like that.
But even then, like the person would have left, and they wouldn't. You know, information how it changes hands. Whatever you
Yeah.
said to him, only a part of it would have been retained, and then when he regurgitated it to someone else, only a portion of it would have been maintained.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's so weird, right? It almost seems in the citizen development realm that you get to a position where you build solutions, but unless the people behind you are interested in that kind of stuff or want to maintain it, like the work kind of just ends up turning into being manual, right? I get it's or that's even a crazier question, right? I would love to do that'll be a good like longevity study, right? It's here we think that citizen development is a good thing, and
you said sorry to cut you off, but you said such a good word right now, longevity. Like that's such a like. Because do you have any like use case of citizen development that is out there for years and years and years, like more than 5 years?
Yeah, but what drove the length of that adoption was the system that those citizen developers were in, because a lot of times those systems, when they've created them for the citizen development where the automation actually stays in production, it's used for years and years and years. Those citizen developers are a part of a program that's either building something for other people, right? They'll be in one division, but they'll be building something that's meant to be used by other people, maybe with their division, or they'll be building solutions for their team to use, right? Something that does something. Maybe my team all works on these Excels, and then I build a bot that consolidates the Excels that everybody has and does this with them. So those are where you see scenarios where those automations are still running when they leave, opposed to where they might have built something that kind of helps maybe just them with their individual work. That's kind of where I've seen it be sustainable or have.
Okay, so one very interesting concept that I also like to ask people in this area is how do you see the RPA as a whole? Like, do you see, because the platform as a whole, I see as a strategic platform, a decision, right? So when the company, what we were starting the conversation, when the company decides, okay, UiPath is going to be my RPA platform or Blue Prism, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's say UiPath, right? Because we are UiPath. But UiPath is the strategic solution for RPA. But what about the RPA solutions on itself? Like, are they strategic as well, or are they temporary solutions? Because if you tell me that an RPA solution should be like should have a longevity as any other like application, like built in Java or C++, I would maybe challenge you and ask why, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? Like the decision on this spectrum.
This is very important because yesterday on our discussion, somebody asked about trying to get into the space. And this question is directly relevant to them, right? Because if I'm a back-end engineer, software engineer, and I want to know whether I can get into this niche and whether it's worth my time, right? Because it might not be something that'll be around. So, relevant question. The answer is in how you describe the question and some of the details you use in this platform, right? It's RPA. It's not going to be RPA forever. And even Phil Hurst at Horses for Sources, right? He's claimed this a long time ago that RPA itself was dead. And he didn't say like application of RPA was dead. He's basically like the terminology. And he was like, if you're using only RPA, then more or less that art form's dead. So he said it has to be some sort of holistic approach, and there needs to, and then now UiPath and everybody says platform. So platform is the key here, and platforms evolve. Think about Microsoft. Its Office platform, everybody still uses it. Excel doesn't do, it does everything it used to do and then 10x more. PowerPoint, the same thing. So they're making that adjustment, UiPath. It's going to a platform. And as soon as they mess around and get their licenses together and in line with that concept of being a platform instead of it just being the title of what their software is called right now, that's just marketing, in my opinion, until licensing follows suit. Maybe that's the beer talk. I'm getting kind of spicy, right? It's just marketing. Anyway, but until there's like a licensing model that matches that, it's a thing. But I think that the key is a platform. And if they go to being a platform, then there'll be longevity in that knowledge. Just like if you are an expert at Power BI, right, which is just a application in the Microsoft suite.
Dashboarding.
Dashboarding where you pump in SQL or you pump in some Excel data for most old school orgs. And you go. So I think yes, there's still a career field in it. You got to get into the platform and then just be aware of how it evolves, right? And UiPath is well positioned for this because all of their core components, document understanding, test automation, and obviously communications mining and these functionalities. I don't think communications mining, but the other two and RPA, they all lead their respective industries. If you look at the Forrester report, who's the best in DU? It's UiPath. They didn't even have a platform 5 years ago. It was Abby and the others, right? And now they lead that. So they're getting it down. They're getting their platform, their products in line. And I think that they'll be just fine.
Nice.
Yeah. What do you think? You think you agree with that? Does it make sense or?
No, yeah, absolutely. But you didn't.
Yeah.
You described the platform, but what about the automation? Like, as the automation, like, should the automation be?
It looks
like,
nothing
strategic?
like. Oh yeah, so that's a very good point, right? So, and this is such a evolved question because the answer to this question is different for every organization. Are you in S4 HANA in the cloud? Are you on-prem, right? What is your evolution? Because what you need to do and what your strategy should be when you're on Oracle and it's old, or versus I'm already in S4 HANA, which is on the cloud and it's optimized and, that answer is different. But the good thing is the platform covers all of those components. Automation needs to be a core part of your strategy for one reason. If it's not in corporations, it's not getting funded. Once your RPA program, no matter where it starts, I don't give a damn where it starts, if it's a CIO, CFO, or it starts homegrown by some cool ass manager. No matter where it starts, at the end of the day, it's going to grow to a size where you need $1 million to fund it, right? But the work that it's doing, you will be able to clearly say at that size, when you're paying $1 million for your program, you're going to have enough automations to calculate. It would take 1,000 humans to do what these bots do. So it'll be funding itself by the work that it does. But what all of this kind of this means for people in the space, right? It has to be strategy, because if it doesn't, what the only things in corporations that get funded at that level with that kind of spend are the big strategic operations. So yes, it has to be strategic, or you're going to get to a size where it's just not important. It's not going to get funded, and the program's going to die, or it's just not going to be delivering value if it's not strategic. But like the automations and how we use the tool, it won't be RPA, and you won't be dragging and drop. I mean, you won't be using activities and stuff. It'll be a lot more. All of the GPT and all that stuff is going to destroy all of those paradigms. I don't know what it's going to look like, but
do you really believe that AI is going to be able to fully and independently create automations that will resolve day-to-day problems that we have?
Yeah. I think it will. I think it will because, well, first of all, I believe in this concept called I5 or Industry 5, right? which eventually says that everything will be automated, right? We'll live in a society where all of these industries, the banking, retail, the innovations that are happening, even leveraging AI, are growing at such a rapid pace that they all start converging, right? All of the technologies kind of converge and they're interchangeable. So I think that AI I think it's just as crazy as it says it's going to be. I think it's going to be just as disruptive as the cell phone, right? If you think about looking back at how society and everything changed because of the cell phone, I do believe that generative AI and where it's going to go will have that kind of impact on society as a whole. I do think that it'll be able to build. And the good thing is I can answer yes to your question. If your question was, will AI and GPT get to the point where I can just type in and it'll do an ERP migration and all of my data will be safe and I don't no. Like it'll never be able to do complex automations or that, but you're going to get pretty close to where you can have it build agents or chunks.
But help me to understand here, because I truly see the power of AI, right? And yesterday we were talking about this, but at the same time, like in RPA or in automation, like there's many different ways and approaches, right?
Yeah.
But the core concept of RPA, which is automating target applications, is especially legacy applications that people don't want to touch that application anymore. Like sometimes they even don't have the code. Like I already, support applications that didn't have the source code. So if it fails, right? Screw you.
Yeah.
Right. So for those kind of applications, like there's no way people want to update or to upgrade or to enhance. They just want to get rid of. So while they still have it, okay, let's create an automation that's going to make my life easier. Fine. So how I don't see how ChatGPT or any AI, maybe I am very short, I have a short vision here, but I don't see that happening, right?
And when you say like you think AI being able to touch the legacy systems and stuff like that and kind of get integrate, I mean that stuff is here's the thing though, I don't know if integration or ability to access is the hurdle, right? I think that I would have thought that kind of stuff till I saw computer vision and what we could do through that, right? That, AS400 or interacting with any of this stuff is the barrier, right, to us being able to do it. But what I think about in this scenario, to answer your question too, and why I think that AI will eventually be able to reach that is because when it comes to what we're even doing with RPA, they've already condensed it down to a science, right? All of the work that we do and we're building with bots, and if you think about the work that you're doing, this will make sense. The stuff that we build these solutions for, as companies went from working with paper and filing it into cabinets, and we started getting applications of technology, when you build stuff, there's that finite scenario of time, budget, and resources. And so this ends up being to where finite, so you can't build all the features and functionality that you want for every single application. So there's going to be some steps that can't be done by automation and that there's not budget for me to build, which ends up being kicked out to something manual. And then as your business scales, that kind of grows, and all of a sudden I got something to automate. So it's called the long tail of automation, and that's what RPA came and kind of chomped on. We found bigger ways to use it. What happens is an organization starts to evolve their use of this technology. They start by doing that long tail of automation. And as long as we're building applications, that work's always going to be there, right? I'm rolling over to this new thing. Well, it's got a long tail. Some features or functionality isn't there. Eventually, it'll be something we can automate. So you can kind of get ahead of it. But what good organizations do is once they automate all that kind of the work that is RPA, then what they do is they come back and they start thinking about automating work as these solutions get rolled out, right? So it's never manual work in the first place. oh, my SAP step stops right here, but I would like it to do 4 or 5 things before it's finished. Well, now RPA can do that before it ever becomes manual. That's phase 2. Phase 3 of an organization, once they start doing that kind of stuff, and this means their knowledge is pretty well understood. And then what they do is they start building business processes from the ground up, leveraging both their core applications and automation. So now, before I even build a new business process, I'm creating something that's filled in the gaps or designed with architecture of RPA. And so the reason I think all of that stuff will be the case if this is the normal evolution of it, then organizations will be using AI both as co-pilot as they build these solutions, so they'll have less and less gaps. Then they'll be using AI and robotics to chomp up every little piece that doesn't exist, that falls off of what's being built. So I think that's how it gets integrated more than is it going to be used to build RPA in the way that we see it today.
Interesting.
It's an interesting concept when you think about it on a life cycle perspective, I think.
Exactly.
So give us one of your crazy questions, since I've stumped Joel with a good one. He's going to have to think about this over another beer later, or after he's drank that one, or whenever he has one, he's going to think about it. Promise. He's going to say, hey.
This is the only one that I'm going to drink today.
Nice. Me too. I only have this one.
I am limiting my intake.
I love it. I think that's the new vibe, right? I think that the younger whippersnappers, some are canceling drinking altogether, which I don't recommend. You probably be quite stressed in life if you don't have a drink occasionally. That's me. But personally,
I wouldn't. I don't know. I like to have a beer. Not every day, of course. Quite often, not every week. But
I like that.
I would say that I could survive without it.
I think that's an excellent approach. I would recommend, due to the science that I've seen, not to partake. I don't think that the data is looking good. Quit drinking 7 years ago. That's a lie. No, it's probably good. I know a guy in the chat said he quit drinking quite a few years ago, and it's probably for the best. Tends to break his hands when he's drinking. Give us one of your questions. What do you got? What do we pull something over my screen? What do we got? It's going to be, pop it up in the background. He's going to change the scene on us, and we're going to see it real time what his stuff is. Or maybe I'll pull up. While you pull something up, let me look at this notepad. Cool. Intel confirms Microsoft's Copilot AI will soon run locally on PCs. Next-gen AI PCs require 40 TOPS of NPU performance. I don't even know what NPUs are. Do you know what an NPU is? Don't tell Joel. Did you hear that? Do you know what it is, Joel? Did you hear that, Joel?
No process unit. I have no idea. So here we are going just to scramble, and I can ask ChatGPT to bring me some answers for that.
There you go. Ask Chat while I'm looking up another note for us. Ask GPT what an NPU is.
Let me see.
AI in the future has potential to not use the GPU or CPU. I don't know. For me personally, when I even hear stuff like this and the NPUs, when we find out what those are, I'm assuming it's some type of chip that goes in like a PC. But I can't imagine like a chip would be able to outperform GPUs that are coming out now that are the size of PlayStations, right? Like if the entire I don't see how it could. What do you got? What is GPT telling you, Joe? What does it say?
It's coming up. So in the context of artificial intelligence, an NPU refers to neural processing unit. An NPU is a type of specialized hardware designed specifically to accelerate neural networking computations. By the way, do you like Joe Rogan? I love that show. So there was a guy couple of months ago, like a scientist. I don't remember. It was
Nice.
he's American, but has some Asian heritage. I don't remember his name. And he was talking about the quantum computing.
Quantum computing? Oh,
Have
man.
you heard about that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's hard to believe that it is possible to have something like that, but it's so mind blowing. Like, man, I can't even imagine like how that is possible.
Yeah.
I was so amazed with his explanations on quantum computing and the real world application of the quantum computing. That wow, was so amazing.
Yeah, I think that those are kind of scary though, right? Because they can like hack your stuff. I'm drinking a neutral, which I'm kind of lying. It's not quite a beer, but my friend is drinking a Stella.
Stella Artois.
Yeah, Stella Artois. I always love their holiday commercials, their holiday stuff. All right, so an NPU is a wannabe quantum computer that they're trying to, not a quantum computer, but they want to do fancy stuff. We'll say neural processing, AI processing. I mean, but who's winning the game? Like Nvidia already has, like, I don't know why are they even doing this? I don't even understand. Sounds cool. Why are they doing this? Why are they putting MPU? Why are they putting extra chips in computers? Microsoft. I feel like they're just trying to get in the chip game. Sounds cool, but I don't know.
Have you heard about Elon Musk doing some neural chipping as well? So I just saw the headlines. I haven't watched anything. I haven't read anything, but what I understood, he was implanting chips or something.
Oh, yeah. I've seen the Neuralink. Yeah. So I already saw. Not only did I see Neuralink, I already saw a video about that first patient and how some of the connections were getting disconnected. I think when they implant it, it's like a ribbon, and there's a series of wires that connect to your brain and the synapses or wherever they put it that has what tie into those. But I think he'd already lost like 30 to 40% of the connections that already become dislodged. And I think there's obviously an ability to reconnect it in your brain. But yeah, Neuralink. Yeah, that's right. So I've seen it. Pretty crazy.
Man, I get scared with this kind of stuff, to be honest.
You're gonna turn your brain off, shock you. Yeah, I would never put something in my brain. Never.
No.
I know Lance would put something in his brain. Anyway, NPU, so it's able to do blur out backgrounds, calls for object detection, so you can do sort of like computer vision activities, video and photo editing. So nothing crazy, right? Nothing that a GPU, my NVIDIA does all of that, right? It's doing background replacement, it's putting you on the screen, it's doing all that stuff, and doing GIFs at the same time. But boom.
I'm watching them because I have a YouTube on our live show on the other screen.
There we go.
I'm seeing the GIFs popping up.
Nice. Yeah, he's a GIF master extraordinaire. His part-time job. He's got to put some other ones on there. I told him, hey, you're young. Go get some cool ones to put on the show so young people want to come and watch us old people talk about cool stuff. But what's all right? Let me see another topic. Let me get. I'm gonna take the mouse over. I'm gonna see. I see this list. Something else. I'm gonna throw a curveball. Oh, we got the video, but we'll watch that later. Microsoft's Copilot feature overall negative. I don't think that's the case. NVIDIA.
Okay. Hold on. So because we were talking about AI, and I'm pretty sure you know this much more than I. But what happened to Google? What is the Google's AI again? Gen AI.
Oh, no, you're talking about like Bard or whatever. Or...
No, there was a
Gemini.
Gemini, yeah. So and there was some issues, and they lost a big chunk of money. And
really?
Have you heard that?
No, I've been using GPT. Haven't used Gemini. Dude, there's so many, right? I mean, like the space is so saturated. Not just like the GPT portion, but like generative at scale. I use Gemini. That's right. I use Stable Diffusion, right? You can download Stable Diffusion on your local PC, and they have this thing called Comfy UI, which gives you a user interface to run Stable Diffusion and do your own image generation, right? If you don't want to use some of that stuff. So I got that on my computer, and between all these stuff, right? I just don't have time to go check out the flavor of the month, and I don't care how big your brand is, right? It's just like, what am I going to do, you know? So did you check it out?
No. I haven't checked it out. As you said, like, man, we don't have much time, man. Like working, I don't know, 9-10 hours a day for one job and another a few hours for another. You know, we have family. It's hard to find like a couple of hours per week to do this conversation. This is required. Like I need to talk more.
I need to have you on a conversation so we can enjoy this stuff, right? So and to your point, I've been looking for somebody to BS with about these topics for a year now. So I'm glad that, you know, we're doing this. Hey, so are we agreeing to here? Then we're going to get through at least 50 plus episodes before, you know what I'm saying, we even get lazy about it. Like, let's give it a solid effort.
So we have to make a commitment then, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Are you going to write a contract to sign?
Yeah, do it. Hey, you got GPT in front of you. You write it up, and you know we'll do it. I am not
talking about artificial intelligence. Like today, we had a meeting, and then there were quite a few people, and I was the one that should be taking the notes and to make the meeting minutes, right? So then in the end, it was a quite complex meeting. And then in the end, I was struggling. Oh my God, what should I send, you know, as a meeting minutes? And I was just, you know, BSing with my colleagues that I would love to have an AI like Microsoft. I already have the Teams Copilot, right? We just don't have enabled at my place yet. So I was telling, I would love to have some AI just to summarize the meeting and make some bullet points. So, you know, then I could send as a meeting minutes.
It does that. They already have one.
They do, but we don't have access to that, right? So that's the point. Yeah.
So that's another question. Hey, does limiting access to some of these capabilities inhibit or restrict your organization? Right? You not having access to these tools, is that a net negative? What are your thoughts? I think it is. I personally think it is. But, you know, there's plenty of reasons. I understand some of the excuses, you know, and I'll throw out a couple like data privacy. I don't know how they're using our information. What's model? Do I, you know, all sorts of stuff. But what are your thoughts? Are you getting prohibited by that?
I personally, I don't like, but I totally understand the position, the strategic position of the corporation, of the company, right? So we are a bank. We don't sell money. We sell trust, right? So if the bank loses its trust, like then, I am hearing some echo, by the way.
Yeah, I turned my phone.
Okay.
I was like, whoa, stop it.
So it's a low risk. It's a low risk profile. So this kind of tool is amazing, of course. Yeah. But we can't just, it's amazing, let's grab it and use
everybody
it.
Use it.
Yeah. So everybody else we don't fall for that. There has to be some proper risk assessments but again, it goes back to the statement, right? What is the risk appetite of your company? Like, are you a small company open to new things and you are not processing credit cards, you don't have see all this kind of stuff, you don't have PCI or PII, you don't have many, I don't know, there's so many things, right? So
that's so true, right? And it's crazy. Out of all of the places I've been, I haven't really seen anything nuts happen, right? But you're right. I don't. I don't know whether the risk. The weird part is I understand exactly what you're saying, but I don't ever think that the risk is ever the technology coming in. It's always the people. If I'm being honest, right? It's always the organization.
It's a combination. It's a combination, right?
Yeah.
Because see, the technology might not be totally, but
Excuse me.
for example, AI, like there's models behind, right? How these models are being trained.
Yeah.
First of all, right?
Yeah.
Which data are being leveraged to train the model?
Yeah.
Is this public? Is this on the
Completely
internet?
valid.
Right. So, like we're a bank, and we cannot have any data going outside of our network.
Yeah.
So that's extremely important. That's the core, right?
Yep.
So it's tough, right? You have to do the proper assessment. But I get it. Like now that I am getting used with ChatGPT and I am using quite often, right? And it's so amazing. It helps me so much because I was a terrible writer, terrible, and I couldn't write. Like I would write pretty good texts, but in a developer way. Right?
Yeah.
So people like me would understand, but like my daughter wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know? So
I can relate to that.
yeah.
It's very interesting. I think that there's this concept about human nature, right? And I think that the guy that found Bernie Madoff, the guy that was able to identify Bernie Madoff for the fraud that he was, he has he has this condition. I don't even call it a condition, but it's sort of like the way that he views society, right? And
he was a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, he's a very smart guy. He was
mathematician, right?
Yes, yeah. But the thing is like these people like him, they're programmed to see the world as a default is no. Their always default is no or bad, right? So when they see something, the first thing they always assume is that it's incorrect. Where naturally, the normal person, the biggest chunk of the population, like when we hear somebody tell us something, we default to yes. We always assume that if you tell me something today, I'm going to instantly assume that what you're telling me is factual and that's the truth, right? We're hardwired to be like this because in order for our species to live and effectively work together, like we have to be able to, even if I don't know you at some point, like if I trust you, I got to default to yes. But I feel like in the corporations, it's the exact opposite, right? Everybody defaults to no. Everything's like bad. It's like default to no, even though it's not what we're naturally like. And then slowly, yes.
I agree to some extent. Yeah, we in corporations.
Beer cam. Yeah.
Where's the beer can?
No, I said beer cam. I had him had a switch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Rick.
Yeah, but man,
Sorry, you can continue. I'm listening. I have headset on. I was grabbing another beer.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
So,
cheers.
Cheers. It's such a hard question because there's no right or wrong. There's no. Oh, now I see the beer can.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Sorry, I distracted you, right? We'll get the rhythm down, and next time you'll laugh at it.
We're getting there because yesterday we spent like half an hour just with some noise, and we weren't even in the room.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, that's good. We'll get good.
Today
at this.
we managed to get it started, and we are just running kind of smoothly.
I know, right? And we had so many topics that we haven't even touched because the conversation's flowing, and it's not the drink. Yeah. Don't blame it on the drink.
Yeah, not at all.
Chat. Don't blame it.
But yeah, so saying no, man, I have to say, I go back to the statement. It depends on the risk appetite of the company, but I would say yes, that's true, right? Because if you don't say no, people will just there will always be bad actors.
Yeah, it's true.
Like it is, and it's statistics, right? Yeah. So out of 100 people,
Yeah.
There's no way around it, right? So you have
Yeah.
to put some guardrails.
Yeah. But I would argue that our guardrails are way too slow. They're sort of crippling, and we could do a much better job at it. Everywhere I've been, that's been the case, right? But here's the thing. Go with me here. Here's the thing. I think that that's a case across the board, right? I believe that we should be building automation solutions at a much faster pace, right? But we're stuck in the bureaucracy of how we execute projects and if they should or shouldn't be funded. And I mean, obviously, there's got to be guardrails and stuff like this. But dude, what's been consistent throughout my career is that there's always more overhead, no matter what company or what customer is delivering these projects. There's more overhead than there is delivery of value, and that's not a product of the people with the tool in their hand, right? We could deliver much faster, but we're like, hey, let's stop. Let's check this. Oh, let's stop and do this. Oh, let's stop right there. Wait for approval. And so we like to be agile, but we're in a big, slow-ass box. But that's my soapbox. Sorry.
And the bigger company you are, the more difficult it is going to be.
Yeah.
I remember like 15 years ago, maybe between 10 to 15 years. I don't remember exactly how many years. I was working for a bank in Brazil, and I got this side hustle. Was a really small company, and they were building some new. They essentially were creating websites, right? C# and Microsoft technologies.
Yeah.
And I remember, because I've never created a single website in my career. I'm not a front end developer at all.
Yeah.
My front end designs are pretty bad, but it's still that guy hired me because I am a very strong back end developer. I have some really good skills on that.
Nice.
So what I did with that guy, I created a framework in C#, but I was working with the owner of the company. So that was agile, right? So we were here sitting next to each other, and he was a developer as well. So, and we created like some frameworks, and I remember we were using like MVC and
nice.
Yeah,
if you're like, did you like pair programming or XP or
exactly?
I love it. I love that stuff. That is great.
Yeah, but see, I was working with the owner of the company.
Yeah.
Besides him, next to him.
That's
and we were able to make decisions that would take effect immediately.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have to go to any financial approval, any security approval, or PM or BA or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Like we were the decision makers. And it turns out like this guy I left, right? It was just a side gig. And I met him like 5 years after.
Yeah.
And he, hey, Joe, remember that project? It's still running.
That's so cool. I love to see that, man.
Yeah, he was using was a back-end framework. So whenever he needed, he would use that. So it was pretty awesome. But again, I can say that it was a startup almost.
Yeah.
Like very small team, very easy to make decisions that would take effect immediately. But that doesn't happen everywhere. It actually,
it's the opposite.
It's the opposite. Exactly.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of value in that, and having that ability to deliver value at that speed. I've always, and when I launched a startup, Jolt Advantage Group back in 2018, I thought about a lot of this kind of stuff. I thought about what does the ultimate speed look like, right? If you're going to build a team and they were just to deliver, what it would look like, right? And unfortunately, I've never seen anything happen like that. I haven't seen a team built like that, but I always envisioned something that was like XP, pair programming. I also envisioned basically where, and USAA developed this concept where we did workshops, right? And instead of us going back and doing these big, long, drawn-out things, it was sort of like hackathon style where we got the business in a room and we would iron out the requirements that one to none requirements in like in a day, right? Without exception, like everything. And then like day 2, we're ripping out all of the test requirements and the architecture, right? And they're coming in the afternoon to review it. And then I'd even see us going into just core development. The developers just developing, the BAs are there like a lifeline. If the developers have any questions, they're instantly plugged into the business. And solutions just being built fast, right? I don't need approval. I don't need prioritization. What's your problem?
Exactly.
Build now. And I don't care if it's going to save us $1 million or $50. It's solving a problem, right? And I think that there's some merit to that. But guess what? Guess what happened?
What?
It's funny. What happened is we realized all of this value that we were generating, all this cool stuff that we were doing. And what essentially happened was they were like, hey, they're going to come to us and they're going to want to know how we did it. And we're going to need to show them that we know what we're doing. Right? So let's write an SOP. Let's write a procedure that describes what we're doing. We don't have any of that, so let's whip it up. So then we started building SOPs, and then what happens when you have an SOP? You got to follow it, right? And so you start creating a ridiculous process to show that you have ownership of it, but it worked, right? What happened was after we built those first programs that saved money at USA, they came and said, okay, we want you to go start training people how to do this in other divisions. So I spent half a year just going to my job. I get up in the morning. I just go teach a team how to do RPA in the bank. I teach a team how to do RPA and claims, and they would set up little pods, right? But they were never delivering value as quick as we would. But eventually what happens, right? We build processes and we do this stuff to organize or structure our work. And it slows us down. And again, I agree with you. There's some of it that's required, but I'd say that we lean way too heavy in adding artificial activities that don't really add value, right? I don't know how. I think there's a different dichotomy where instead of us trying to build all of this artificial architecture for a process to save us from ourselves, let's assume that we're going to do a great job, and instead of prioritizing longevity and the best thing, maybe we prioritize speed and some other metric like time to value or something, right? But or just identify the most relevant risk, like call it the one risk, and then that's the only thing that we consider, and we build solutions and we'll handle the stuff. I don't know. I got on a soapbox for a second, but I thought about how cool it was. Not only were we doing some valuable stuff, and I think it still today might have been the best model, but I think it's still something worth considering.
Yeah.
I got you in a deep thought right there. I think there's value to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm kind of trying to wrap my mind around now.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, but I would ask how to measure the value, right? So you were saying, different metrics, right? So because one way of measuring value is hours, like in the RPA word, like how many hours are you saving, right? So that is one of the big factors. Yeah. But is that the most important, right?
Yeah. No, and that's the crazy thing, right? Because what's important always kind of gets back. If you know what's good for you, and you know about scale, then you're going to say what should matter. What should matter is the board objectives, right? What am I doing for the company? What's going to deliver the most value from that perspective? Because that's what actually matters. But to answer your question, right? I think that the most important part is that we know we need to capture value and metrics of some form. But all of that, how easy is it to track every single step and have visibility of what a bot's doing?
Isn't that easy?
Not easy for logs? Like now, here's the thing.
You know the logs, of course, but who is reading the logs?
Oh, that makes sense. I'm not worried about ingestion of the logs, just creation. Because as long as the logs are created, I have a map, right? I have a data points.
Yeah.
I have a trail. If I
you
need
have
it.
someone, you need someone with skills to read that log. But
No, you
sorry,
need.
sorry.
Well,
Maybe I lost you. So
yeah.
what's the point of the log? go back a little bit.
Yeah, no. So how we got here is that what
We're
we
talking about value.
yeah, what we know is value. We have to prove value, right? That proof of
Yes.
value is the most important metric, no matter what we're measuring. And
Yes.
I'll argue about you don't want to worry about what you're measuring because that dictates what you're going to do. That dictates your action. That's why measures are important. What's up, Bubba? That's you. Yeah, you just woke up from your nap. Yeah,
Get some visitor.
Yeah. Where's your mama?
Oh, she's cute.
Yeah, can you check for Dixie? She's around. Wait, you snuck in. He loves it. But so we're talking. You got to be able to measure value, and I was thinking, how do you measure value? Right? It's measurements of value are very easy from my personal experience because it's all going to be a form or method of what the bot's doing, right? How fast it's doing, what it's doing, for who it's doing, how accurate is it doing what it's doing. Sometimes that's a measure, whatever it is. In order to track that information, you have to be able to know what the bot's doing. How do you know what the bot's doing? You know it through the logs. You don't need somebody necessarily to interpret it. I've built bots that go back. They're literally automations that go back and read logs, right?
So you create an automation to audit and another automation.
Yeah, all the time, right? Build bots to check bots. And that's agent, right? That's going to happen. Might not even need to worry about,
But what about insights? Don't you use insights for that?
Am I going to get in trouble? I'm going to get kicked out of the program. No, I don't use insights currently. While it's a tool, right? I don't think
what's
that
the problem with insights.
I know. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's any problem. I don't think there's any.
I do.
Oh, you do? Okay. Good. I mean, you're saying it to me. How I'll put it. There's no problem with it to me. I just think there's better tools, right? I mean, that's pretty much it.
I think insights is a very powerful tool, and it's getting better and better, right? The latest version, especially cloud version, it's awesome. It's real time. You have real time data availability from orchestrator to the insights.
Yeah,
and that's really powerful. But like the previous versions, especially standalone on premises, it's kind of limited, right? To some extent, of course, depends on your use cases, right?
Yeah.
But one thing that I found annoying was like not every data goes to the insights, right?
Yeah.
So the ending items is probably the biggest one, and that's troublesome depending on how you want to measure. So that's related to how you measure. How you measure the quality of your bot, how you measure the performance, and so on, right? So
but the
pending data is also important for some businesses, right?
I think that the thing, though, from my perspective, is it's just a display.
I'm
right?
sorry.
It's just like a display. No, you're good. It's just sort of like a display, right? And there's better technologies to do dashboarding with, and I can create much more robust systems if I disregard the lack of features and functionality from insights and use a different tool, right? Like if I want to build something real time, I can do it with SQL database, and I can build an HTML front end, and I can pump certain data to some back end and create a view, right?
But then you are assuming your development team has full access to the database, right?
Yeah,
which may not be true in some places.
Well, it might not be true in some places, but that's a conversation, right? That's a conversation, right? That needs to happen at an executive level. If like we're not allowed to have access to like technology, like a Azure database or.
Man, give me 1 second, please.
Yeah, you're great, bro. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, I can give you my mom. Where's mom at? Oh. Yeah,
please.
1 second, I'll be right. Give me 1 second.
Bye. Julian,
Dance moves, dance moves. We're doing dance moves. Whew, man. Hey,
what was that?
those dance moves. If you don't know, I'm gonna give you a hint. I'm gonna give you a tip right now. Every year, I hope this doesn't get out in the public. Every year, UiPath at the MVP Summit, they have a dance competition. It's not something that's like in there, but if you want a chance to be MVP for 2 years in a row, the only thing you have to do is dance, right?
Really?
So it don't have to be a crazy dance. You'll see when the moment comes up because it's going to happen. As long as you get in there, do some dances. Doesn't have to be good.
What do I win? What can I win with the dance?
Oh, there we go. So whoever dances the best will get a trophy. You never know what it is. It could be a T-shirt. It could be like another trophy. You won't know, right? It's sort of, that's the hidden thing, right?
So what are the terms? What are the criteria? What is the criteria? Like, who is deciding and how do they decide which one is bad?
He said, he told me that I'm not going to win. He said, I've seen you dance, bro. You're screwed. Oh, it doesn't matter, right? Like it's sort of spur of the moment, right? You got to kind of do a little dance, but feel the crowd, you know? I think it's sort of only the community managers know how they pick the winner. I don't know how they do it. So, but now you know it's going to happen. So I gave you a heads up. You would have had no idea as a rookie. You would have shown up and you would have been like, oh, I don't know if you can dance. Maybe you can. Maybe I'm being a little judgy here.
I am so like rusty to like I would dance like our 2D2. Probably our 2D2 would dance better than I.
Oh, beautiful. I love to hear that. So at least you're just aware. So now you just get one little 2-step down. You'll be good.
Yeah, let's see.
Anyway, so that's what that was. That was a quick me loosening up. I don't want to show you what my dance move is because I don't want you to steal it before we go to the MVP Summit. But
and by the way, the summit's right here, right? In 1, 2, 3 weeks. Yeah,
I gotta buy my
2 weeks.
So
2 weeks and something.
So we're gonna do a live session there, right? We're gonna do one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but we have to fine tune our skills.
Yes, we'll have plenty of reps. All we got to do is I'm gonna have my research analyst, and I'll watch this back, and I'm gonna make a couple of improvements that we can do to make it better each time. And I see what they're typing in chat about inflatable arm flailings. So the ones you see like at the car washer, like the little animal.
Right.
He said I dance like that. So, and I was thinking about putting it where we have chat, about in our talk. But if they're gonna talk about I look like one of those, I'm not gonna put the chat in there. We'll find other cool ways to improve though. By the summit, we'll be rocking, and maybe it'll be a different day because I think that they have something planned for us on Friday. I think they said that.
I don't know when we are going to do it. Let's see. Because Friday is the last day. They haven't released the calendar.
Schedule, yeah.
So
and they'll do something. We did something
let's
Friday.
Let's get there and
probably another night.
I'm sure people will understand the many people are watching us.
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be fun. But I'm excited, right? I think we got to do it from the headquarters building. It's really cool there. Probably get some. I get some. I have like
Right.
I have like a polarizer, so it'll kill any reflection on the wall, so we can get some good city.
Let's
in the
get
background.
Vibor on the show.
Yeah, be our special guest. We'll get him on the show. Yeah, we'll have him talk. Yeah. And then we'll have the same camera, so it'll be the same quality. It'll be perfect. Everything. It'll get 10 billion views. I already know it. So.
Oh, of course. If we just share with Vibor's connections, that get
that's
like
true. Yeah,
half a million.
He's very popular. It's very true. It's very true. So what do you, any closing thoughts or questions? We've hit our 90-minute mark. We don't have to get out of here, but I know we should be considerate of everybody. So what are your
man, it's been a blast as usual. Like spending this time just talking, nonsense things to people, I don't really care. Not that I don't care. Of course I care, right?
Yeah.
But I don't do this because we have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
No, I do this because I really enjoy talking with folks. Lately, I haven't found myself enclosed a little bit, just not wanting to talk that much, especially with folks that I don't know. So putting myself out here, talking to you, but knowing that this is being broadcasted, it's a breakthrough.
I love it. That's awesome.
But it's a good topic. Not that it is a good topic. We bring good topics for both of us, right? So we talk about stuff that we like, and if people out there like, so that's awesome. If people out there don't find that much interesting, I don't know. At least we are enjoying.
I think it's interesting too, and I think that's why we balance each other out, right? Because you have this nice, wholesome, appreciation for being here and growing. And I am incredibly naive, and I need the affirmation of others. So when I see at least one person in the chat, I just think I'm cool. So I'm not as.
I am looking at this chat here, and so wow, you are awesome.
See, so
I feel messages.
I like at least some engagement. It makes me feel important. So, and the fact that I get to hang out with someone cool like you, it's just a super duper bonus. So I think I'll enjoy. This, I definitely enjoy the topics that we talk about. Hopefully what I like to do is we'll continue to refine, what our scope is. And hopefully we can flip it into helping people get work in this space. Cause I think that would be cool, right? If we can get a couple people to follow in our footpaths, I think this is incredibly rewarding. We get to work in this cool field. So I am the same. I appreciate it. I got a hopping banana on the screen. That's to wrap it up. I love the cheer. I love this banana. So we can wrap it up on this note, Joel. I enjoy this. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I can't wait to make this be this consistent. And
and a shout out to your son. What is his name again?
Evan. Yeah, shout out to him. Appreciate you.
Shout out to
the unsung,
to the tech guy.
Yeah, the tech guy, the GIF extraordinaire. He is going to be helping. He just finished, so he's out for summer. This is going to be his part-time gig, research analyst. So he's going to be over here helping. And I appreciate everyone who stuck around and threw things in the chat. I think we'll do some cool stuff.
I see his long hair, so he must be heavy metal.
Yeah, there you go.
So you taught him well.
There we go. Awesome. So perfect. Hey, Joel, I'll get out of your hair. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And anybody that hung out, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend too. We're going to make this a thing. We'll be back next week, next Friday. Maybe a new beer, maybe something the same. But Joel, I had a wonderful time, brother. You have a great weekend.
Me too, man. Talk to you.
Later. All right. So I appreciate it. Great stream. Appreciate it. You guys have a great weekend, and we're out of here. In 3, 2,